Here I come. Hello, music fans, music collectors, and all hobbyists. Welcome to the Card King Sports and Variety Show. I am your host, the Catman, Brian Cataquet, a.k.a. the Card King. We are live on ABC's KMET 1490 AM.com, your number one spot right here for news and talk on the West Coast. I thank everyone for tuning in this morning. On the telephone line, I welcome to the program one of the most iconic voices of heavy blues, roots, and the Southern rock genre from the band OTIS. I welcome in Boone Frogett. Boone, Brian C., honor to have you.
Hey, man, glad to be here, and what a great intro, man. That was so much better than I deserve.
Oh, man, it's a little gasoline to get the ball rolling, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Boone, born and raised in southern central Kentucky, and reading about your career, you come from a family of musicians, right?
I do. My grandfather was a competition level old time fiddler. He won the state championship of fiddling here in Kentucky a couple of times, and my dad, he played kind of Bakersfield honky tonk style music. So I grew up with music all around the house, and I was on stage with one of them or both of them, from the time I was 8 years old on. So that music was what the family did on the weekends. So it's kind of all I've ever known.
Man, 8 years old. Give us a little bit about that experience. I mean, were you nervous performing at 8?
No, because it was just like I said, it's kind of like what the family did every weekend. My dad was up there, my grandfather was up there, so it felt normal for me to be up there with them. And I always just I took to music, and it was interesting. I didn't hear a lot of blues or rock music until maybe I was 14 or 15 years old. Most of what I listened to as a kid was bluegrass and classic country and things like that.
And B.B. King must have been one of your favorites growing up, huh? Oh,
yeah, man. I was going through my dad's cassette tape collection and put B.B. King on, and man, from that first note, man, that just it totally changed the course of my life hearing B.B. play and sing, and it was a big moment.
All right, so exciting times for the band OTIS. The new single release, which came out July 16th, a little bit over a month ago, is called entitled "Last Fool in the Line." Give me and my audience a little bit a biography of this new release, and how was the production creating it? Where how did everything get put into place?
Yeah, the song itself had been around for a while. We've been taking it on the road and kind of testing it out, kind of see what the crowd thought about it. So we're like, all right, it's probably time to record this. So we went down to the Rock House in Franklin, Tennessee, and worked with the great Grammy Award-winning producer and engineer Kevin McKendree. Kevin's worked with George Thorogood, Brian Setzer, just all kinds of folks, and he's really, really great to work with and really understood where we were coming from as a band. And we recorded the song live in the room. The only overdubs, we did a couple of vocal overdubs, and then I doubled my slide guitar solo. But other than that, it's pretty much just the band playing in a room. And man, since we released it, it's been great. Been very well received. Joe Bonamassa just added it to 2 playlists on Spotify, Cutting Edge Blues and Cutting Edge Rock. And we got featured in Classic Rock Magazine's Tracks of the Week, and
nice.
We're a little over 30,000 streams on Spotify so far.
Oh, congratulations! It sounds fantastic. So, for people listening to the program now, where can they purchase this new CD? How can they get a hold of it?
We're just releasing singles at the moment. We're getting ready, to start talking to labels to get a full-length album out there. But you can find the singles, anywhere that you stream music, Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, Deezer, it's all there.
All right, so now talk about the history of OTIS for people that may, listening that may not be familiar with OTIS. How was the band formed and created?
Myself and John Mark Seeley, the co-founder, bass player of the band, we were playing in a cover band with my dad, And we kind of got to the point where, like, we're really into this blues and rock stuff. We'd like to kind of pursue it. So we got together with two other guys that were local to the area, and started it off. Man, our first album came out in 2015. Tough Times, a tribute to John Brim. John Brim was a bluesman from here in Kentucky that moved to Chicago in his teens and ended up on the Chess Records label with the Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, Walter, all the 50s blues greats. So we wanted to pay tribute to him. So Greg Martin from the Kentucky Headhunters produced the album, and it was our music and John Brim's lyrics. And as it turned out, Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top turned out to be a big fan of the album, so he started mentioning us in podcast interviews and gave us a press quote, and that kind of really got us started, and we started touring pretty heavily. Released our second album in 2017 on Cleopatra Records, produced by Paul Nelson, who was Johnny Winter's longtime manager, and we've been to Europe twice, and around 2020, things we kind of hit a couple of speed bumps, had a lineup change. I had thyroid cancer, had to get my thyroid removed, take some radiation. Yeah, and then. And
how you feeling? You feel you're doing better? You doing okay now?
Oh yeah, I'm all good now. I go to get checked out twice a year to make sure everything's good. But they did a great job removing it, and it didn't harden any of my vocal cords or anything. Man, I could sing better now than I ever have because I had a 3 centimeter mass in the middle of my throat. So no wonder I couldn't sing as good as I wanted to. So I got that limitation out of the way, and pulled 2 new guys into the band, and we started back touring in 2023, and it's been great.
Man, first, most importantly, I'm glad you're doing good and you're feeling better. I mean, that's really unbelievable. So you mentioned Tough Times. That was produced, 2014, 2015, and that was really when I listened to that album, it was, for me, it sounded like a groove-oriented, blues-drenched masterpiece. Now, that got a lot of good reviews. Would you say that was your blueprint for things to come moving forward?
Oh, definitely, man. Yeah. That first album kind of established the sound of the band and what we were trying to achieve, because all our heroes that we were listening to, like if you look at Zeppelin's first record or Canned Heat or the Allman Brothers, whatever it may be, and you go down through the track listing, you'll see that all those songs, a lot of them were old blues songs that they had reimagined with kind of their own music and did their own spin on it. So we were kind of following in the footsteps of those classic rock icons and keeping this blues thing alive.
Man, and Boone, the Blistering Eyes of the Sun, which was released in 2018 on Cleopatra Records, man, that one lived more. That one lived more than the band's promise, right? That was your band's debut album.
Yeah, that was our first album of all original material, and our first album on a label, and it was a great experience making that album. We got to record it to 2-inch tape, which is something we'd always wanted to do. Kind of a more old school approach to making a record today, but we had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, that definitely lived up to the promise of the band's debut album. Now, was that album produced by the Grammy-winning producer Paul Nelson?
It was, yeah. Of course, we lost Paul earlier this year. Such a great guy, man. When we would fly out to go to Europe, we would go we'd stay with Paul a couple of days in Connecticut before we'd fly out. Man, he was a great guy, and of course he was very well known for being Johnny Winter's manager.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. And so what's down the road? Are you guys touring? What's your tour schedule like?
Oh man, it's been great this year. We've got to branch out and play some places that we hadn't got to play in for a while. We had the pleasure of doing the Iridium in New York City. We opened for Wayne Baker Brooks there. We've been out opening for the rock band Jackal, which they were a great band. The Kentucky Headhunters as well. At the end of the month, we're going to be doing the Georgia Allman Brothers Band Association Festival down in Macon, Georgia, which is a big honor for us to be part of that Allman Brothers Band legacy. So yeah, man, the touring has kicked up this year. The first year we started back touring, we did maybe 20 shows, and this year we'll probably hit 40 by the end of the year.
We're talking with Boone Frogett of the band OTIS. He's with us this morning. Now, Boone, reading on your website, which is, for everyone listening, the otisband.com is the name of the website. Now, I'm reading here that you had a chance to meet ZZ Top's Billy F. Gibbons. How was that? How did that work out?
Greg Martin from the Kentucky Headhunters and myself were attending the funeral of Brian Farmer, who was the guitar tech for Government Mule and the Allman Brothers. And we were headed back home, and Greg gets a call from Billy Gibbons. He's like, "Hey man, if you're down, around Nashville, I'm going to be here for a couple of days. Let's get together and eat supper, hang out, whatever." So we turned the van right back around. And went and met Billy at downtown Nashville, had supper with him and his wife Gilligan. And toward the end of the night, Greg just kind of slides in our first album over, Tough Times, a tribute to John Brim. It's like, "Hey man, check this out. You might really like it, or you might use it as a drink coaster, but here it is." And sure enough, man, the next day we got a call, and he's like, "Man, this album's great. Great playing, great singing. It sounds very authentic." He was asking us how we got some of the tones in the studio, and then his secretary sent us a press quote, and he started mentioning us in interviews and podcasts, and it was really, really a great help. It was, to have that kind of attention from somebody that we looked up to so much was a big deal.
I mean, that's a big deal. Billy F. Gibbons of CZ Top. Now, he handed these your albums to Buddy Guy and Jeff Beck?
He did, man. He was out there on the road just burning copies of our first album. I know, like you said, Jeff Beck, Buddy Guy. There were some other folks that got some as well. But man, how cool is that? Just to have your favorite guitar player just burning copies of your album and giving it away. So cool.
That's phenomenal. And Billy F. Gibbons, from what I understand, was a fan of Otis.
Yeah. We've got to open for ZZ a couple times, and got to hang out with Billy. He's a great guy.
That's what I wanted to ask you very quickly. How was it meeting ZZ Top?
Oh, so cool, man. And Billy is he's just an archivist when it comes to blues music, man. He knows everything about everybody, and man, he's just like an encyclopedia on music and guitars and amps and culture. Just a pleasure to be around.
But yeah, I mean, the new release is out. For those listening, the website, if you want to jot this down, is called the otisband.com is the name of the website. And the new release has been out since July 16th. It's called Last Fool in the Line. And it's a ferociously rockin' song that was written by the band. And it's the band's first release of original new music, from what I understand, in 7 years. Now, I wanted to ask Boone, why it took so long for him to come out with an album. I know he did suffer, as he mentioned, throat cancer, which I'm glad he's doing better. But yeah, this is a big deal for Southern rock fans listening, that enjoy the music, listening to the program. The new release is Last Fool in the Line by the band OTIS. And it's the new release in about 7 years from the band. So make sure to pick up a copy. As Boone mentioned, you can get it on Spotify, also on the website. I'll mention it again. otisband.com is the name of the website. And as Boone mentioned, this new recording was... Oh, Boone, I was mentioning to everyone about the website and, to pick up a copy of your new release. And from what I'm reading, This is the first release in about 7 years, right?
It is, man. We were so busy touring that we didn't really have a chance to release an album. And then, the whole COVID thing happened and the lineup changed, and with my thyroid cancer and stuff. So we're just now kind of getting back around to releasing new music.
Now, I want to give a plug to your bandmates. Alongside Boone, we have John Seeley as bass, right? And go ahead, give us the roster.
Yeah, John Mark Seeley on bass, Dale Myers on drums, Alex Wells on guitar, and then I do most of the singing and play some guitar as well.
Now, so yeah, you're the vocalist of the band and you're the guitarist. Now, how did you pick up guitar lessons? I mean, when did you start at 8 years old with the guitar?
I did. I started pretty early. Started around 12 years old. You know, my dad was a guitar player, and he would kind of show me enough to start me off, and then I would slowly kind of figure it out myself. So I really didn't have any formal lessons, but I had somebody in the house that was a really good guitar player.
Very nice. So down the pipeline, what's next for Otis Band?
More touring, looking to hopefully release a full-length album next year, and just keep on doing it, taking the music to the people.
Yeah, and it looks like you got you're performing on Friday, September 27th in Georgia, right?
Yeah, we're doing the Georgia Allman Brothers Band Association Festival, which is really cool. You know, Macon, Georgia is kind of where the whole Southern rock thing started. Capricorn Records, Capricorn had, Marshall Tucker, the Allman Brothers Band, Elvin Bishop, all those classic bands were on that roster. So it was really cool to be a part of that scene.
And my final question, when we think of the Otis Band, what genre would you classify the band as? Would you classify it as Southern rock, blues, roots? Like, what's the main genre?
Most people would say either blues rock or Southern rock, but to us it's just progressive rock and roll, because all rock and roll is really blues based. If it wasn't for blues, we wouldn't have rock and roll, period.
Very nice. Listen, I appreciate a few minutes, and good luck with your travels and good luck with the new release.
Thanks, man. Enjoyed talking to you.
Likewise, you just heard from Boone Frogett of the band Otis. The new release is out. It's called Last Fool in the Line. Make sure to pick up a copy. Ferociously rockin' new release. We'll see you soon. Happy collecting to all.